Hi guys, welcome back. Today I want to show you all how to take the template that we've been looking at and use this to create your preparation outline. The preparation outline is designed to organize your thoughts from the very first thing you're going to say, which is this attention getter, all the way to the very last thing you're going to say. You're going to want to use full sentences, and you're going to want to try to limit each entry to one sentence. So I'm going to use, now this is a slightly older example, but most of the time in my traditional classes I give the outlines back to my students, so I didn't have a lot of samples to pull from. I am going to start saving some more recent examples. So what Alex did here, and I want to give him credit, this was a speech on phobias. And what he did is, for his attention getter, he started with kind of an amusing YouTube video. And then he said, although you may laugh at these people, their conditions are very serious and their fears are very real. And he said a little bit more here that you can read later. And then here's his central idea. In order to fully understand phobias, I will explain what a phobia is, talk about some common and funny phobias, and describe some of the treatments available. What he is doing here is previewing each main point as they will appear, so we know his first main point is going to be the definition of a phobia, and that is here. There are several factors that make up a phobia. Then we know his second main point is he's going to talk about some common and funny phobias. So when you go down, you can go on and write your main point too. There are many common and not so common phobias. And then we know his main point 3 is he's going to talk about treatments. This central idea does a great job of laying out what's going to come in the speech. It lets the listener know what to listen for. Now, he was a little funny with his credentials. He said, I have taken a course in psychology in which I made an A. That was kind of a ha-ha moment in the class because, of course, that doesn't necessarily make you an expert, but still, he had fun with his credentials. I was fine with that. And then he mentioned that he spent a lot of time researching phobias from credible sources. His relate to audience, even though you may have never been diagnosed with a phobia, most of us are afraid of something, and learning about understanding phobias greatly aids in learning to face our own fears. Then when you're typing out your outline, when you look at the template, you'll notice connectives always go in between main points, and they're written between parentheses. So he said, now that you all know exactly what we'll be discussing, I will first enlighten you as to what a phobia is. What I want you to notice in the body, and you type out the word body, and then type out a capital I for Roman numeral 1, notice that these main points are broad so that your research will support them. So, I don't want you to start off with Wikipedia, so please use a different source. You'll be able to find the definition of phobia anywhere, so use a better source here. So, he did use Wikipedia though. So he said, according to wikipedia.com, a phobia is a type of anxiety disorder which is usually defined as a persistent fear of an object or situation. Then he decided to elaborate on this, and you don't have to have ones and twos. He did. What I like here is he is showing an understanding of integrating his sources, because here he's mentioning fearstuff.com, and here he's mentioning a book on phobias, and these several different sources again backed up what the definition is. So he said a statistic provided by fearstuff.com indicates that approximately 1 in 23 Americans will suffer from a phobia, and women are twice as likely to develop a phobia as men, according to the Metcalfs in their book Phobias. He is citing his sources well here, and what I'm going to look for, if fear of stuff is here and the Metcalfs are here, what I'm going to do with each source citation is I'm going to scroll down to the bibliography, and make sure that these sources are listed in the Works Cited. So if you source it in the body, make sure you have a full Works Cited page with that source located here at the end. That way, if I wanted to look up this information, I have the source right here. I can plug it in and I can find what you were talking about. So again, when it's found in the body, make sure that it's found at the end in the Works Cited. All right, so notice that all of this supports his first main point. There are several factors that make up a phobia. After he finishes the first main point, he's going to give us connective. He's going to say something like, now that we understand what a phobia is, let's look at some common and interesting phobias. And then his second main point he used to look at these. And again, you can notice his source citations. Don't use Wikipedia, but if you found it at Wikipedia, you're going to find it somewhere else. So he mentions arachnophobia, the fear of spiders. And I love that he mentions this because, of course, it's relatable. A lot of people have this fear of spiders. I love that he mentioned glossophobia, which is the fear of public speaking. That was an amusing phobia to cover since, of course, we're in a public speaking class. And he goes on to talk about other phobias and even had kind of a fun one where he talks about how Billy Bob Thornton has a fear of old things. And he talked about this. He elaborated in 1, 2, 3 with these kind of funny stories here. Again, a good job of integrating a variety of sources. He had a Harris poll here. Let's see, where else? He had, let me look, netscape.com. So again, a good integration. And here, check out that word, which is a fear of long words. So what I want you to notice, your A, B, C's, and D's, etc. And then if you decide to elaborate, those 1, 2, 3s are those details that support your main points. This is your research. All right, so then after that, you have to have a connective to take you into the next main point. So he says, now that we've gone over some different kinds of phobias, let's talk about treatments. And then his research goes into that. This outline will be found under the instructor resources section. So when you want to look at this in its entirety, you can. Now, what he's going to do after this third main point, and you can look at that when you get a chance, again, please don't use Wikipedia, is then he needs that concluding connective, and that's going to take him into that conclusion. So he said, now that you all have learned about chief methods used to treat a phobia, let's conclude. Today, I have explained to you the definition of a phobia, talked about some common and quirky phobias, and described main treatments. Remember in the template, you summarize your main points, and then you challenge your audience. Here he says, I hope that this knowledge will help you and give you confidence to go out and stand up for what scares you most. He said, I'm facing my fears by speaking in front of you all today. And then remember, the last part of your conclusion is to end memorably. So he mentioned, so to those of you who still have to present your speech, don't let your fears ruin your life. Go out and face them head on. And of course, he did the speech in the classroom. And then he has his work cited here. And I was able to cross-reference all of his source citations in here to the final bibliography. I'm going to stop this video here, but then I'm going to give you another video on how to take this and create some briefer note cards. Take care.